Alright, well, we're just ripping through these tackle talks today. So, again, I've been meaning to get to this one, and I just hadn't yet. So, I wanted to break down some of the baits that were working really well for me this spring in Iowa. I just hadn't been able to do it yet. I'll do like a fall one as well, but, you know, the spring was kind of interesting. Usually I have more luck on blades, or at least smaller blades, but I just never really I never really got into doing that this year. Same with like the swim bait program. Usually I get more into the swim baits, but it just kind of depends on the mood of the fish, who I'm fishing with, and just kind of the conditions that we're fishing. So I wanted to get into breaking down some of those different lures that we had some really good luck with this spring. I've got several to go over here, and I'll just kind of go through them one at a time and talk about why I thought they work and, you know, why I had success with them. But we're going to start off with probably the winners of the spring, or the winners this spring, which would be the Ridgway Customs 6-sucker and the Fortune Teller. So this is the 6-sucker. If you watch Brian or Ben's videos, this thing just absolutely cranked on fish, and Taylor Flannery as well. He had some really good luck with that, you know, in his time down by me this spring as well. You know, those videos, I got to get to those at some point, but that's the 6-sucker. This is the Fortune Teller. Rusty does incredible work. I've had some swings and misses on this guy here in northern Wisconsin so far this season, but you know, these are just awesome lures. I've got his 8-inch 6-sucker. Ouch, it's stabbing me. I've got his 8-inch 6-sucker as well that I'll be throwing some this fall. Both of these things just run like a dream. I don't know why this one wouldn't work. The profile is just phenomenal. I mean, I think Brian got the biggest fish of the trip, their trip down to Iowa this spring on the Fortune Teller, but I think this one got just probably the most action of anything. So, you know, glides are always very effective in the spring. It's one of those things that I should throw more, but usually when I'm fishing with dudes, you know, whether it's Taylor or whether it's Ben and Brian, usually I'm not the glide guy. So I'm very okay with that, but at the same time, sometimes, you know, if they're on the glide program, it means that I'm not catching as many fish, which is fine too. Next one on the list, let's just go into some dive and rise. As always, the 8-inch Navin works incredibly well in the spring. This thing is just an absolute beast of a lure and a workhorse. I mean, it works for everyone. You know, down here I had some luck with it. Ben had a lot of luck with it. Yeah, it's just a really good lure. I think what makes it really special is that smaller profile. It's just got a very narrow profile, and it's very like compact, but it moves a lot of water. You know, it's got that very subtle profile, like similar to a 7-inch Suic, but the 7-inch Suic doesn't really do anything, whereas the Navin is constantly darting back and forth. It's rolling, it's doing all kinds of stuff down there. The 8-inch Navin is just, it's an incredible lure. I always say that I should throw it more, and I really should probably throw it more than I do, regardless of the time of year. The 10s are great. I've had great luck with the 10s as well, but I probably have caught more fish on the 8-inch, and actually bigger fish on the 8-inch than I ever have with the 10. That's not to say that you can't catch good ones on the 10. I'm pretty sure Mr. Scaife caught a really big one time on the 12-inch Navin. Anyway, I digress. Moving into kind of a different dive and rise, the SRJ, always a staple in my boat, always effective in the spring. This thing, it just does something a little different. It comes through the weeds a little easier than some of those other baits. You know, Kevin Avendrop does a really good job making these with Pandemonium Tackle. They're just killer baits. They dance, they dart, they dive, they dip. They do all kinds of fun stuff down there, and they call up fish. So I love throwing the SRJ in the spring. It's an easy bait to work, and it's always super effective. Let's see. Let's do rubber, because this is probably the bait that I had the most success on this spring, is the Mini Deusa. I love chucking the Mini Deusa and just popping it, ripping it out of the weeds, ripping it out of shallow cover. You can work it over shallow cover. You can let it get down a little deeper if you want to work it deeper. It's just a really effective lure to cover a lot of zones, and I've caught some really nice fish on it in the spring. It's one of those lures that it's very easy to trigger fish with and just kind of force those fish into eating something, because you know, they don't always want to eat in the spring. Sometimes they're pretty neutral or even negative, but if you can get something to pop right in front of them in just such a way, oftentimes that's all you need to get one of those fish to bite and get them into the bag. So mini Dusa, staple for me in the spring. I mean, it's a staple for me at all times during the year. I'll even throw it in northern Wisconsin sometimes too if they're not responding to the mid, but always have the mini ready to rock and roll. Let's see. Let's go with some twitch baits now. As always, chucking Matt Ridgway stuff. This is his 6-inch in the Pro. It got plenty of run time this spring. Had some luck with it. Had a really heartbreaking swing and miss on it with Taylor. That was a really, really nice fish. Again, it's just one of those things. I don't know if it's user error or I'm, you know, pausing or ripping when I should be pausing, or the fish strikes as I pull, or what, but man, I have just not had I have not had my luck with me on these baits. It's not because the baits aren't working, they are. It's because I just cannot get a win on these stupid things. I don't know, and it's not because I haven't in the past. They've worked very, very well for me, and I've had a lot of luck on this one throughout the course of the year anyway. That being said, threw the 9-inch a fair amount as well this season in the spring in Iowa. Lost a really nice fish on the 9-inch. Lost a really nice fish on the 9-inch in Wisconsin. I just cannot get these silly things to stick on these. I don't know what the deal is, but I am just kind of unlucky when it's coming to the Ridgways this year, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna quit throwing them. It's not because the baits aren't working. They definitely are. So, you know, the 9-inch, I had some really good times with Andrew Yamelkowski, checking the 9-inch all day. I mean, we were moving fish all day. We got one to eat. Unfortunately, it just didn't stay pinned, but what do you do? I mean, that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to these silly fish. They're just constantly in swerve mode, so. All right, last but not least on the Twitch program, we've got the Topline Twitch. This is a really unique lure. It's got a really rounded body to it, and it suspends down, down pretty deep. I caught one with Brian and Ben on it. I think I got my biggest muskie this spring on it with my father and BZ. Just a really, really nice fish. I appreciate Adam and his craftsmanship. He's always making incredible baits that do really unique stuff down there and seem to always get bit. So I greatly appreciate Adam. I greatly appreciate his baits, and that's more or less what was getting the job done for me this spring. So as always, I appreciate you all watching. I think I'll have probably another couple of these tackle talks to get out to you guys. Yeah, good luck on the water. Fall's right around the corner. The bite should be getting good here very soon. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one.